Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Dumb Ass Film Students, where us film students basically give our dumb ass opinions about films that we like, that we don't like, and that probably should have never been made. My name is Rudy Wilson. You can call me Willy Nilly if you're nasty. You can find me on all social media. I got my big fella Lonnie Cox in the building. What's up, brother?
What's up? How's it going?
Chilling. Then, of course, I got my brother to my right, probably somebody else's left, D.A. Henry. How's it going, fella?
Yeah, how's it going, everyone?
Chilling. Then, of course, I got my brother. We couldn't have came from the same mother, Chris Golden. What's going on,
What's
man?
up? What's going on, everybody? How y'all feel?
Good, man. And then, of course, we always have a guest on, and we got a very special guest, friend to the podcast, friend to me personally, friend to Chris even closer. I actually met this gentleman through Chris. He's I know you're not originally from Miami. You can tell us where you're originally from later, but I met him in Miami. He's a grinder, man. He's a hustler, and not knocking people over the head selling dope, but this man is actually an artist. In many shapes and form, and he do this, man. He do this for a living. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our guest today, Mr. C. Evans himself, Mr. Cory Evans. Everybody, clap it up for him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's good?
Production was crazy, bro. That made me feel real special right there.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I actually was supposed to let Chris introduce you, but I mean, you know, I was kind of in my groove, so I just went ahead and went for it.
I didn't want to knock you off, man. You was doing your thing.
Hey, but so Cory, man, just real quick, man, just tell anybody who may not know about you, just about yourself real quick, just brief history, who you are, what you do, so on and so forth.
I'm an artist. I don't know. I like to keep it real simple. I'm an artist. I was originally born in New York. I love painting. I just decided to quit all my jobs. So in 2015, I became a full-time artist, and shit just been working out for me ever since, man. Straight up. So I live and work out of Miami right now. You want to check me on the gram? It's SEE_Evans, EVANS.
No. And you and two questions in reference to your art, and you started in New York and just continued it in Miami, or you started it once you went to Miami?
Nah, I was an artist my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I always was drawing. I always was painting, but I never considered it like it could be like a real thing. It was always just like a side hobby. It's just something that I just did for fun. But then I always worked these jobs that I hated and shit like that, just like maintain. Right. But once in 2015, that's when I just decided like I'm not doing nothing else. I'm just gonna do my art full time. And that decision was like a crazy good ass decision for me because stuff just started working out after that. Like. Gotcha. I don't know why, but it just started working. So
right.
Yeah.
Dope. And you and what year did you move to Miami?
2015.
You moved in 2015. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that was the same time you started the full time. Gotcha. So in reference to film, since you're here on a film podcast, like what got you into movies? What got you into have you ever made any films? You ever wrote some, directed some, YouTube some? Like what you got?
First of all, I'm just a movie fan. Like, I'm a huge movie fan. My pops, what first got me on the movies was me and my dad watching Kung Fu movies when I was a kid. And just, like, I don't know why, but that was just our thing. Like, we would always just get into Kung Fu movies. Anything that got to do with Bruce Lee or the Five Fingers of Death was one of his crazy ones. But it was the Kung Fu movies that was kind of like the intro to movies for me personally. Right. And then after that, I just started to get into all movies, all different kinds. And then I came across The Matrix. And then once I came across The Matrix, the first one, I thought that was like one of the best movies ever made.
Right.
And from that point, I was just, huge fan of movies, man. All kind of movies, all over the place.
Gotcha.
Cory would just say that Jet Li is better than Bruce Lee. Just my humble opinion.
I feel like it's hard to say because it's two different time periods.
It is two different. You can't knock the original because Bruce Lee is the original, but off tops, I think Jet Li had some great movies.
I think Bruce Lee, even though he's been dead for 30 years, would still fuck up Jet Li.
Whoa. Whoa. No.
Well, I mean, to be even more specific, I think Spike Lee is the greatest of them all. So, you know. So fuck all those guys.
All these leaves. Fuck these other leaves.
All right, man. So we had a homework assignment, guys. We were tasked to watch 3 films. Those 3 films originally were The Warrior. I always want to say Deuce Bigelow every time I think about this movie, but Farris Bueller and Parasite. But of course, it was actually Ferris Bueller wasn't the original one. It was The Big Short and Parasite. But then we replaced The Warriors with Ferris Bueller because The Warriors cost money unless you got the plug.
You guys are talking about The Warriors, like the one that takes place in New York, or Warrior, the MMA movie?
No, back in the day.
The Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, The Warriors. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. So if you did not watch The Warriors, which I could not, it's no pressure. If you did watch it, we can graze over it. But the 3 main films we're going to focus on today are Ferris Bueller, The Big Short, and Parasite. So I think that we should start with the one that brought home the most bacon, Parasite. That one, and I mean bacon in reference to awards, not so much money. I don't know how much money it made, but it definitely won a lot of awards, which is the reason why I ever even heard of it, which is when we watched the Oscars. I had never even knew about the film, saw that it won all these awards over these award-winning films that I did hear about and read scripts for and so on and so forth. So I was like, gotta see this movie. So let's start with Lonnie Cox. And Lonnie, I know that you're kind of a new face to this, but this is only our 3rd episode. So if somebody probably didn't see the first 2 episodes, you fit right in. So we won't even have to give you an introduction. You've been here.
Perfect.
All right. So with that being said, we'll start with you, man. What was your thoughts on Parasite?
Parasite, I thought it was, obviously it's like very well done film, right? Like every frame was done purposefully, which I always appreciate. I don't know if you guys know this, but they actually, the house that it takes place in, they actually built that from scratch. That wasn't like someone's home that they just like went in. They built
for the movie.
They built the home for the movie.
Wow.
Something like the table cost like $50,000. Like they really put a lot of effort into every single thing of the movie. The story obviously was very cool. It didn't do much for me as it did for other people, but it was very unique, which I do appreciate. I like it when a story is different. I don't like just the same story being told over and over and over and over again. But I would not say it was a better movie to me than, say, like 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought those movies definitely should have won Best Picture over Parasite.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Chris, how about you?
My thoughts on Parasite. I thought Parasite was an excellent film. One thing that about the film, I hate reading subtitles, and that was like a complaint that I had about Inglourious Basterds. As much as I like that movie, there was so much subtitle reading, like, bro. But this movie the movie was so well done, I didn't really even notice the subtitles almost. And like Lonnie said, with the purposefulness of the shots, you can really follow the story like very, very well, just from like the visual storytelling as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna also piggyback on what you said of I don't believe it deserved Best Picture as well. I don't think so. It was a great film. Don't get me wrong, but there were stronger films that came out this year. Like I thought Uncut Gems was a way better movie than this movie, but Parasite was very, very impressive, and it was also unique as fuck. Like I've never seen a story like this before, so that was dope.
Gotcha.
That's it, pretty much.
Gotcha. All right. What about you, Cory?
One of the biggest things that I like about Parasite is from watching the trailer, the expectations that I got from the movie was completely different.
Right.
Like just looking at the trailer and the way that they're promoting it, I'm really thinking that it's like some parasites, some bugs, some type of, crawling inside the human body. Because there's a shot in the movie where they show like the lady eating a bowl of ramen or something like that, or she's eating a bowl of something. And it's normal in the movie. It's just like she's eating food. But when they shot that little scene inside of the trailer, it just made it look really creepy, like worms or bugs in the mind. And plus the movie is called Parasite anyway. So like going in, I completely expected it to be one way. and then it changed my mind completely, like watching the film. So I do like to give them points for that, like points for just, creating the whole perception around the movie, and then you come in and actually watch the movie, and it's nothing like you ever imagined it was going to be. I really like stuff like that. Pleasant surprises, I guess. I thought the movie shots was really good. I thought the acting was really good. I believed it was like a real family.
Right.
You know what I mean? It seemed normal. Like it was a lot of I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I don't know what the other movies were that was up for the running that year though. Like as best picture. Like what was the other movies?
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty good. It was unique, something different. I like different stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. What about you, DA?
I did enjoy the movie a lot. The beginning had me hooked. I mean, when they were setting up the whole fact that this family was basically being a parasite to this rich family, I thought once I saw that, I was like, oh, the title fits so perfectly. But after that, it became boring. I left. I came back. Nothing had changed.
You walked away from the movie?
No, I paused it.
I came back. All the characters are still alive.
I paused it, but then the director he brought us back. He brought me back once once we find out discovered the extra room, and then the ending. I thought it was going to end with one of the deaths, but kind of like Quentin Tarantino, but it didn't, and it kind of ruined my expectations. I agree with Chris and Lonnie. It's kind of like the year Shape of Water won Best Picture. It was like, oh, yeah. I'm so excited to see this movie. Then you see it, and it's just like, oh, okay.
It was just a good movie. Yeah,
Right.
That movie wasn't that great either.
It wasn't 1917 or Uncut Gems or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So,
yeah,
gotcha. All right. Well, for me personally, like I said, I checked it out a while ago. I pretty much watched it maybe not too long after it won. And along with Cory, it definitely, the name in comparison to what it was about, definitely, that was the thing for me. That definitely caught my attention. I definitely expected something else. Especially, and I'm not trying to say this to be racist or funny, but especially in a foreign country, like outside of America, you hear the word parasite. My mind instantly is just thinking like, okay, this is about to be some like, some shit crawling out somebody's throat type shit or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what this means. But like I said, but of course, it was what it was, and I thought that it was very entertaining because it's a movie that's just constantly just going, and you got this one family who has this perception on life, and this other family who's literally like flushing out a whole staff of people one by one, pretending that they don't know each other and just replacing all these people, whatever like that. And so, I mean, I just thought that even that whole hustler mentality was just dope in itself. I mean, and so, but I will agree with Chris when it comes down to the subtitles. I mean, for me, I think subtitles are kind of hard because, we're not used to seeing subtitles. So when I'm trying to read the subtitles and, watch the screen at the same time, like it becomes a bit much. I'm missing some action or I'm missing a word because I'm trying to look at what they were doing. I'm trying to look at the words, and then it just gets kind of combobbled. So, so that's mine in a nutshell. But it was definitely a very good movie. And it was cool. I mean, so we'll go into the nominees thing real quick because majority of the ones, the movies that this particular movie Parasite beat for Best Picture, I didn't see anyways. But if y'all seen them, rep your hood when I name them. All right. So you got 1917. And I'm gonna say all of them. Actually, no. Matter of fact, we can go one at a time. So 1917. So y'all
so
say,
good.
Yay or nay, Parasite should have beat them.
No,
I've never seen it. I still haven't seen 1917.
The whole movie of 1917 basically looks like one shot.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's
It's like Birdman, but like in a war
It's like
setting.
Birdman, but Saving Private Ryan. Like you feel like the mission. The movie is two guys going on a mission in World War I, and the whole movie is shot like you feel like you're the third guy.
Right.
Like there's this scene where they're like shining flashlights in a cave, and dude, when I was watching the movie, I'm like this. I'm like trying to like look out for them. I'm like trying to help them.
Gotcha.
It was
He's looking out for Nazis.
All right. So next movie.
Oh wait,
was,
World War One. My bad.
The next one was Ford versus Ferrari.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that. That looked boring as fuck.
Actually phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It was, even though you know it's just a racing movie, the movie was still phenomenal. I watched it. Not Brad Pitt. What's his name? Matt Damon. And Christian Bale. They did a phenomenal job. I mean, basically they were trying to soup up a Mustang to beat a Ferrari, and it was fun to watch because it was like, oh my god, it just made you like anxious inside because you know how fast a Ferrari is and a Mustang. So seeing them actually work through it, I will say this: saddest ending ever. Oh my god, I almost cried. Yeah, the saddest ending. Should have won. It shouldn't have won over that.
So Parasite shouldn't have won over Ford. Gotcha. Okay. What about Joker?
Yes.
Definitely a way better movie than Joker.
Joker is overrated. I'm sorry. That shit is not that good.
Overrated as fuck. I'm sorry.
Really?
Man,
Well, go ahead, Cory.
I feel like I'm not saying that it's like a horrible movie or a horrible film. It definitely has its moments. You know, it's not a bad film. But the hype and the amount of tension that it gets, it definitely doesn't deserve it. Though. The story is boring.
Movie.
The action is boring as fuck. And then, you know, some people say it's supposed to be like more realistic or more lifelike or, you know, more like the personality of the Joker. It's like, you can say all the things that you want to say, but it's dumb. I'm sorry. To me personally, it was kind of lackluster. Like the amount of attention that they built up for the movie. And then me watching the film, it's like, and then after I finish watching the film and digesting what I just watched, it's like, nah, that doesn't deserve the amount of attention that it got. You know what I mean? But
I agree. To me, it felt like Martin Scorsese made a superhero film. Like the amount of shit that movie ripped off from like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy was like ridiculous. Like it's like that movie was like an homage.
It's an homage.
I think they're tied.
I mean, for me, honestly, I think the awards that won in reference to Joker winning Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix, I think was the only appropriate award for that. Because I didn't. The film wasn't trash to me, but definitely overhyped. But undeniable, his performance.
Performance was great. Yeah,
that was hands down.
But no, best performance of the year. Nah. Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse was way better than him.
I didn't see that.
That was nominated for Best Actor?
Nah, he got snubbed completely. So I guess that doesn't even count. I guess.
No, I'm talking about people who were in the category. What I'm saying
is that's the
people who were at the table.
Yeah,
right.
If he wasn't even there. Like, what are we talking about this guy for? Like, but like I said, but in reference to that movie in general, I'm saying the best part about it was his performance. Like that was
for sure.
That was definitely dope. And I understood even the whole creating a character to combat, you almost fighting fire with fire type of thing. Like he created this Joker character almost like when I'm this person, I'm bold enough to fight back as opposed to when I'm my normal self. I'm a little bitch or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So either way. All right. So let's I'm gonna do 3 movies at a time. Y'all can just spit through them because we got like 6 more or 5 more. So we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Irishman. Who's seen those?
I didn't see The Irishman. I don't have enough time for that.
Irishman was
quit it.
Wasn't
hold on.
I don't think it should have won. I think a Parasite should have won over Irishman.
Over The Irishman. The Irishman, I think, would have been better as a miniseries. I think it would have been better, maybe even a little bit longer, because it was so long that like they just took so much time on stuff. but even though they had so much time, they still left a lot out, which is odd for a movie that's 3.5 hours long.
What could you possibly miss in 3.5 hours?
But like if they would have done maybe 6 hours, I feel like they could have really sat in some of the things. Also, the thing the Irishman loses so much on is the CGI in the first act, where it's like Robert De Niro de-aged. Like, it's clearly a 70-year-old man pretending to be 30.
Right.
Like, the problem is that we know what Robert De Niro looked like when he was that age.
Right.
And it looks nothing like that.
Right.
As far as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, story-wise, I think Parasite wins. As far as, entertaining, I think Once Upon a Time wins. Because you cannot beat that ending.
Dude, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a masterpiece. I
thought
it was so good.
It's good, but story-wise,
the driving scene when Brad Pitt first gets in his car and is just like cruising around LA. That's just so fucking cool, Those
old ass 70s commercials are playing on the radio. Yeah,
dude.
It's a great scene.
Oh, and then the ending, unbelievable.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I thought it was a masterpiece. In my mind, I thought that was going to win Best Picture.
Gotcha.
I need to watch.
I haven't seen it yet. So you said,
it's really good, bro. It's top tier Tarantino, bro.
For sure. Absolutely.
So the last three are Little Women, Jojo Rabbit, and Marriage Story.
Jojo.
I didn't see any of those.
I'm gonna just say this real quick before you go, DA. I have not physically seen any of them, but I did read the script for Jojo Rabbit, and it was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it was pretty. I could imagine it being a really good movie because even what I read, and I don't like reading, it was dope. So, but go ahead.
Jojo Rabbit is a very fun movie until the end. It makes you want to cry. Hey,
what's up with you and all these crybaby ass things? Like this man crying at the end of everything. God damn.
That means that they're doing their job. They're making me emotionally invested into the movie.
Hey,
you shouldn't
cry when bad stuff happens. I'm telling you.
You shouldn't watch any Pixar films, bro. I don't think you can handle it.
Bro, I almost cried on Up, bro.
Jojo Rabbit, to me, is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, being Jewish and just, like, watching that movie was, like, especially coming from him, Taika Waititi, who does, like, What We Do in the Shadows and Thor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not expecting a movie about basically, like, the Holocaust and World War II to have so much
but from the side of the person who wants to become the Nazi,
German, bro,
right.
German boy
right.
who is all like swept up in the like Nazism,
right?
And then to find out his mom is hiding a Jew in the attic, and the play and back and forth and watching the characters develop as Nazi Germany is going like this, the characters going like that. Unbelievable movie to me.
Right.
I think it's
one of my favorites of all time.
I think Jojo Rabbit side by side, it would have won over Parasite.
I agree. I think it should have won.
Corey, have you seen any of these?
I haven't seen any of these. It makes me feel like I'm slacking right now.
Get your shit together. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen them either.
I have not seen Little Women or what was the other one?
Marriage Story.
Marriage Story.
I saw Marriage Story. It's okay. It's like a play.
Yeah.
It's all about the characters. It's all about the acting. Which was good.
It seemed like it had really good performances. It just seemed like the movie itself probably wasn't shit, but it seemed like the two actors were was in their bag. That's
like if you want to relive the troubles of your parents, watch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna make you feel good watching
it. Hey, DA definitely cried at the end of that movie. He
no.
Yo.
I looked over at my wife and I was like, that's not gonna be us.
Gotcha. So let's go around the room, and I'm gonna start with Cory. So we're still on Parasite. So give me your favorite thing about it, and then the thing you hated the most.
Favorite thing. Favorite thing is that it's a different story, like a completely different story. I love the contrast of just like, because everybody knows a family at the bottom. Like you know what that image looks like, and they start that story off so good with showing like them being enclosed inside of those cramped, super cramped spaces. It's like every scene is like they're like this close to the wall. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then the actually goes for the job interview or whatever, and he's over at the nice crib or whatever. It's like everything is shot like far away and big and spacious, and I thought that it's like a nice subtle contrast of like kind of like a not so extreme, but kind of like a heaven and hell situation, you know? Where you're living in one place and it's like it's fucking horrible, man. There's like people pissing and you're trying to eat dinner and people pissing and shit.
Right, for sure.
And to have that contrast, I thought that was beautiful. I also thought the way that they, I didn't expect them to like just start bringing in his whole family and stuff like that. I thought that was a shocking change, but I thought that they did that really well. And one thing that I don't like about it, I don't know. It would probably have to be the subtitles, man. I don't know. That would probably be my biggest thing. Like if I didn't have to read while I watch this, like that's it.
Right. No, especially with a movie that has so much going on visually, it's like I get that.
All I gotta say is you guys are missing out on some really good movies that are subtitled.
Yeah, that's what the director actually said at the Oscars. If you can get past that 1-inch subtitle.
But is that? I say it. I say it for later. So go ahead, Lonnie. You can go ahead. What was your
I would say my favorite thing about Parasite was the fact that it was so many like different movies in one. You know, like in the beginning, it's like kind of like a dark comedy, and then it becomes this like at one point like with the it becomes kind of like a thriller horror movie, like that scene where you can only see the guys like what a shot that was.
Scared the shit out of me, man.
That was insane.
I just imagine myself as a little kid seeing that. Like, of course he's fucking scarred.
Dude, I was 30 and it scared the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I also really enjoyed that it's like you could show that movie to, you know, a Russian billionaire, or you could show it to, you know, a kid in like the poorest place in like Latin America, and it would still like ring true to everybody in the world. It's like a universally told story. The thing I don't like about it is I did not like the ending. I thought the ending was like convoluted and just like, I'm going to stab this person. Well, now I'm going to take this knife and stab that. I was like, okay, whatever. Like you're not, whatever you're trying to do, it's not working for me. So that would be probably my least favorite part about it.
I'm glad you said that. Go ahead, DA.
All right. One of my favorite things about the movie is actually the story. The story is it's so entertaining. When I was taking script writing class, they tell us to make the script entertaining, informative, and it has to basically inform the audience about human society. And I think the story itself did that very well because it talked about greed and it talked about how people are selfish and I mean, looking at the two different worlds and put side by side like that, it was great to see, because when they were at the house and seeing them have to go all the way back to their flooded up little square of a home from this nice little mansion, basically, it was just like, oh my God. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then one note before I go into my dislike, Lonnie, I think with the whole stabbing part, the dad had made his, because you know how he said the plan, you know, I won't go into it because we probably don't have time. I'm getting a look from
no, you're fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So
He's the timekeeper.
I felt like the stab was that because he had went in and he when he was talking to the original guy who who was doing the lights, he said, "Why are you doing this?" And then he came out and from that lesson or from that talk, he understood respect. And I think that was what the whole movie was about, was respect. And so he stabbed the guy. Yeah, it was kind of weird and threw me off, but I thought he did it basically out of respect because he wanted a different path he wanted to choose a different path for his family. That's just my opinion. My dislike about it was, I agree, the ending. I felt like it dragged out a bit. And what's up?
No, you good.
I coughed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said damn. So the ending was my least favorite part.
Gotcha. All right, what you got, Chris?
Man, I thought the movie did a lot of things very, very well. One thing I really liked, I actually liked the ending. The whole movie, it's setting up the family as like not only is there a class divide going on, but like you see that the people that live in their part of that neighborhood and like the way that they actually live is like roaches, like parasites, like insects.
Right.
Like even in one of the early scenes, they get sprayed with fumigation fucking gas.
Right.
The fucking
Yeah,
they get flooded out with sewer water, like fucking. And then even so, they even infested this other rich family's home and like made a nest in their home, just like they didn't even realize there was already an infestation in their home. So like that's kind of how the people that are of that class level were treated. It's like respect, right? So like the father, the thing with the father was, even he got really, really pissed. Remember in the scene when the wife said that he would have scattered like a cockroach if it would have came in there.
Right.
Really didn't like that because that hit true. That hit true for him. Like it hit a truth. So the father wanted to believe, he's kind of a loser, as you can see through the movie. He doesn't really do anything. He kind of hangs out and just talks shit. He wanted to believe that because they had gotten into this home and got these jobs, that they were now a part of this society, a part of this thing, right? That they had gotten out of where they were at before.
Right.
And he saw at the birthday party when his fucking daughter got stabbed, who the guy didn't know was his daughter, but still, fucking got stabbed. He saw how that guy treated the help. Like they were still insects to him. They still didn't mean shit to him. And he was like, throw me the keys. He's like, fucking, he didn't give a shit about like his daughter's well-being. And then also he's seen the dude, he went and grabbed the keys and then he fucking like sniffed the dude and said PU and shit. And that that look of disgust was just like the last straw. And he just fucking snapped. And then he killed the dude. So it makes sense, man, why that happened. Like it had been building up the entire fucking movie, and literally in that moment, he realized that even though he was working for this guy and doing everything, like the dude didn't respect him, and it shows that there's foreshadowing of that throughout the whole movie. Like in the car scene, it was like eyes on the road, and then fucking when they're about to jump out as the Indians, like, look, I want you to treat this as your job, okay? Like you're just talking to him mad crazy, like.
Right.
So, yeah, I actually like that aspect of the movie. They did that very, very well. My biggest dislike about the movie,
don't say subtitles.
no, we've been over that. That actually wasn't a problem for me. I thought that was done pretty well. Shit. Least favorite thing about the movie. I don't really know, man. I honestly don't have a least favorite thing, but I do feel like the ending left a little bit to be desired, like the ending, because you don't really know if he ever like is gonna see his father again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really have no negatives, man. It was a great movie. I saw better films that it entertained me more. Maybe that was the thing. There were parts of the movie that dragged on a bit.
Yeah,
that didn't like entertain the fuck out of me.
Right.
Toward the beginning of the film, especially before you discover the room.
Can I just ask one thing of you guys? One thing I picked up on is like, I know the poor people are supposed to be the parasites, but I also thought that the rich people in their own way had a parasitic relationship to the poor people because they depended on them so much. Ooh. That they also were parasites as well. I thought that was a theme of the movie as well.
Wow.
Yeah, because the wife seemed helpless without them. Like she was
That's
fucking
what I mean,
like
bro.
flabbergasted with life in general.
And like the girl was an idiot. The daughter, like she wasn't smart at all unless she had the tutor. You know what I mean?
The daughter, she was like kissing this college kid. Wasn't she in high school?
The daughter was a hoe.
The daughter could get it.
No. I'm talking about the rich daughter. The rich daughter.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
she was giving it up.
Yeah, she was kissing the grown ass son.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
I felt like I was watching a porno. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I will say for me, just because it's been said so much, I'll start with what I didn't like the most. I was going to say that earlier, but for me, definitely the ending. I think for a lot of movies, for me, endings are very hard. It's hard to close like a good movie, especially movies that are fast paced like that one. Like that one is just like once it gets going, like it's going. You know what I'm saying? Like you see the infiltration happening. You know, like you said, the dumbass rich wife, and they just like, and you get this person, you can have this, and they just bringing their people in. They just happen. Then they almost get caught, and then they sleep under the table. And they're trying to slide out. And they decide to sleep on the couch, and he's fingering his wife, and the boy sleeping in the tent. You know, like, and it's just so much is going and going and going and going. And then I think when you try to close it with the message and completely alleviate what you just allowed the audience to experience, it makes it feel like, yeah, I get the ending, but you know. Like it's like I always describe, it's like an in the park home run. Like it was just about to go over the wall, but then that bitch hit, and then it was just like I thought this was Barry Bonds. Like they was gonna catch this bitch in the water outside the stadium, and it's just like, oh no, that shit ain't go as deep as I thought it would.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, so that's how it was for me. And it's not, it wasn't the worst ending in the world, but I think that transition, especially when you're trying to have such a message, but at the same time entertain, I think the entertainment loses value when you try to bring it home with just the message and you don't honor how much you just entertained us for this entire first hour and however much the movie was.
No, my bad.
So the thing that I like the most, I would say for me, probably kind of random. I don't know if anybody else pays attention to this, but like for me, like I've never spoken another language, so it was kind of refreshing for me, like, especially the one particular scene, they were all sitting in the living room. When the family went out of town, they was all sitting in the living room. And they were having like a regular conversation. And the girl was using like profanity, and they were just talking about the people. And when I'm reading it in English, it's almost like I don't never think that this is what's coming out of an Asian person's mouth when I hear, them speaking in their foreign language. Like I never would have fathomed it. So for them to be talking so, which I don't know why, it shouldn't be mine,
like us,
but it is. But like, so the fact that they were speaking so regular, I was just like, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope to know that even in all of that gibberish in my ears, like they're literally saying the same things we say. You know what I'm saying? It's literally the same conversation. So I thought that was dope. So anybody else got anything else for Parasite?
The one thing I wanted to add, how cool is that shot? It's my favorite shot in the whole fucking film. Their whole fucking house is filling up with sewer water. It's horrible. The fucking toilet is exploding with fucking whatever. And the chick fucking sparks the cigarette on the toilet. That was a great scene, bro. That was just awesome.
And it's just she's sitting on it, and it's the shit still trying to shoot up through the
exploding. And she's like, "Fuck it, I just need this cigarette right now. Like, I don't care."
Like, this was the only happiness she could find. She literally went to find it and was like, "Oh, it's still alive."
Right.
To me, that was dope. It was like a redemption scene, because the scene before that, you just seen them do a whole bunch of cruddy shit. And they're really being looked at like they're doing some nasty stuff to this high-level family. But then when you reverse that and just show like the real life that they have to live through, it almost justifies their actions a little bit. It almost gives like a little bit of a like, damn, they're going through. You know what I'm saying? Shit is fucked up.
Well, what's crazy about that is this is what they didn't think about was, like, when they got the maid fired, like, she had to feed her husband in the basement. Like, they're not thinking about these people that they got fired situation. So that was another aspect to it that I liked, because then they find out, man, this guy could have died down there because of what they did. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And yeah,
I thought the lady died when the mom kicked her down the stairs.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
I was like, oh my God.
That kick was
serious.
crazy.
It's dog eat dog, Chris, because if you think about it, if you in a situation where you hungry, like you and your family hungry and somebody else in their family hungry, and either you and your family gonna die or them and their family gonna die.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
I'm gonna eat tonight.
No offense, you feel me? But like we got to, we ain't finna die.
Yo, and it's
Right.
funny that you say that because as soon as those other people got introduced and they told their backstory, I was like, oh, they're gonna be like friends, immediate adversaries.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought they were going to help each other out and whatnot. No, total opposite.
Because yeah, like she was like, my husband needs to stay down here. That means I need to continue to work here. Like, and she even tried to reason with them, like, look, you got to just feed them and they just, I don't know, they were assholes.
Hey man, it ain't enough room at the top for everybody, man. Somebody,
right?
somebody got to go.
The biggest lesson from this movie is don't get a naive wife.
Right. You got money. You got money.
Pay attention to what your wife is doing.
Yeah, don't marry.
Nah, the husband was pretty. Wait, the husband was not naive. Actually, he was pop quizzing the shit out of that driver.
Right.
Watching his handling, like
Right.
the husband was.
The whole I thought the whole coffee thing was brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's like, I like your turning, your handling. Like
Yeah.
when he didn't spill the coffee or whatever.
Right.
With yeah, that was dope.
Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, man, Parasite, man. Against some nominations they should have won, but against others, definitely should not have. But overall, a good film. Shout out to the filmmakers of that, and you know, y'all ever.
He didn't even research the makers of the film.
Well, no, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I mean, his name is sitting right here in front of me. I just don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say Bong Joon-ho.
Never mind, man. You know.
Nice. See, look, now you trying to call me out. You didn't embarrass me because I don't know how to pronounce this shit. He definitely.
He was trying to slide that by. My bad.
But yeah. So all right. So let's go to the next film. I think Farris Bueller would be appropriate. We can say The Big Short for last. I think The Big Short's pretty in-depth movie. So let's start with Farris Bueller, and we'll start with Christoph this time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, man, this is one of my favorite movies. I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off, dude. I've seen this movie mad times. Even to this day, bro, I like what would Jesus do? What would Ferris do, bro? I really try to model myself after Ferris Bueller, bro. But if you pay attention to that movie, man, he is living life the right fucking way, bro.
Right.
Positive vibes, smiling, having a good fucking time. Everybody loves him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks out for his friends. Good guy. Like, that he's operating on 100% love. Like, I fucking love that movie. And what I love too is the contrast, because his best friend Cam operates solely on fear. The dude's sick all the time. He's afraid of his fucking father. He's afraid to break the rules. And like, this day is like that big of like Cam facing his fears type of day. Like, Cam is kind of secretly like the main character of the film. Like, Ferris is just trying to help him find his way and have this big revelation that he has to stop living in fear. I think it's an excellent film. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I don't have any negatives. I don't think we got to the negatives yet, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
No. This is your 2 minutes just over.
Word.
Gotcha. All right, what you got, Lonnie?
To piggyback off of what Chris said, I think Cam is absolutely the main character of the movie. He is the one that has the most character growth throughout the movie. The Ferris Bueller is really just like a vehicle for Cameron to experience the different things he experiences in the movie. I also like relate a lot to Cameron, you know, like growing up with, you know, a dad like that and having like anxiety shit going on as a kid. Like that scene where he's just in bed, you know, just like he's sick, you know, he's sick. But when you look at him, he doesn't look sick. He doesn't have like an upset stomach. He's not coughing or throwing up or anything, but he is sick. He has like a mental illness. And, you know, that movie was filmed in the 80s. People didn't talk about that or care about that really back then. Right. And then I think it's also really cool, his growth over the movie to where he, you know, that Ferrari, like it symbolizes his relationship with his dad. He's like afraid of the Ferrari. And in the end, he fucking kicks the shit out of it and sends it out the window, which
Love
is
that
him
scene.
like conquering his father, you know, which most men have to do in their life. You know, most men have to like transcend being a boy and become a man. And that's where Cameron like becomes a man. And that to me, that's what the movie's really about, you know?
Word.
All right, what you got, Cory?
I didn't see that movie. Everybody gets on me about that, like from my whole life. Most famous movies of all time. And every time I tell somebody I didn't see it, they say, man, you gotta watch that movie, bro. But I had watched The Warriors because I thought we was gonna watch, I thought
I
that
thought
was
you
in
was
the
gonna
movie.
give him a heads up that we changed it, Rudy.
I did.
Yeah, he told me that we changed it, but I had already told him that I watched The Warriors. Honestly, I wasn't trying to watch all these movies. I got work to do, bro. Like I got limited movie time life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I never seen that, but I heard it was a great movie, and based off you guys' feedback, I'll check it out.
Okay. Well, we'll swing back to Warriors just so you can better dabble into that.
Well, I haven't seen The Warriors because we changed it, so I didn't watch it.
Either, Chris. It's not about you, okay? We want to let this man talk. Jesus Christ. I didn't see it, though, but what about me? All right.
We can save that, though. We can save The Warriors for next time. Wait till everybody watch it, then we digest that.
All right. So what you got, DA?
Yeah.
I've seen The Warriors, so
Okay, but fuck the Warrior right now. We're talking about Farris.
Farris. Hold on, babe. So first of all, I thought it was the funnest movie to watch out of the three movies that we, yeah. And then off tops, I just want to give a shout out that this man played Simba in Inspector Gadget, so he basically made my childhood. But the movie overall was very fun. I enjoyed watching it. I was kind of tired when I was watching it, but the whole movie, just from the beginning, it was very entertaining because you're seeing him play sick, and you know he's playing sick, and you're seeing all of this stuff, and it was very entertaining. I mean, the guy had everyone in the city doing the twist. He even got his dad. It was. I love the movie. I really enjoyed it.
Pretty legendary.
Dope. Well, for me, I would say, I thought it was a cool movie. I was kind of shaky about certain things, not like story structure or whatever, but I was kind of shaky about certain visuals, if you will. And mainly because like when I first seen it, I kind of backed off because I was thinking to myself like, this is a kid's movie, no big deal. But then the level of profanity that they were using in this movie, I'm just like, this can't be that much of a kid's movie where, to be letting everything go. And so what I mean by that is like, and I'm not being too critical, it didn't necessarily ruin the movie for me, but just to kind of play devil's advocate, since everybody else just kind of loves the movie so much. I thought it was a little overboard with him not getting caught in certain situations, like him literally, his dad like literally looking dead at the side of his face, but not knowing that's him, and all of a sudden like he's disappeared and the dad doesn't realize, I don't know who that was, or his dad looks at him in the cab and all of a sudden the girl is, so it was certain stuff like that. Like I said, I feel like when somebody's a slickster, if it is a child's movie, there's going to be certain things like, say, even with him being on the float in the parade and getting everybody to dance or whatever, I get all that. But like I said, but being that it felt kind of adultish because they were, they was cussing their ass off. I just felt like the journey was really good for it to have like 2 or 3 cheesy escapes when because he's supposed to be the motherfucker who can't be caught. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I want to keep seeing him in more of a realistic situation of not getting caught and not just his dad just so happened to not realize that was his own son walking next to or whatever.
What year is this movie?
It's
Like
an 80s
85?
movie. Come on, man.
I look. I mean, what does that mean? You're at like cinema started in '82 or some shit. Nigga, 85.
Have you seen Back to the Future? Like, it's a different time for movies, man. It was a little more campy.
Well, that's not the point. I'm not asking him for CGI. All I'm saying is I'm just asking him not to be able to stand next to his dad. His dad don't know who the fuck he is. All I'm saying.
I mean,
right.
your opinion is well noted, and on the slight, I guess I slightly agree, but you do have to still understand that the time of cinema was different. So.
So yeah, it was a PG-13 1986 comedy teen movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, like I said, it didn't ruin it for me, but it wasn't like the fakest shit I had ever seen. But I just felt like, because it's not even like at the end of the movie he got caught. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally got away with the whole fucking day. So my whole thing is like, if you're that guy, like, I want to see that shit ride out. Like, I don't want to see no freebies. You just, oh shit, my dad. Fade back, doesn't see me. Like, he saw me once, won't see me again. Like, it was just like, come on, bro. Like, that ain't, if you that nigga, bro, be that nigga. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. But he definitely, and that's pretty much my take. We could just kind of be free range about it now, but I mean, I definitely thought he was like, Chris said he was a cool kid, had a beautiful girlfriend, had his homeboy, whatever. I mean, he was lit, but he just was, he got to prove himself. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that would even be my best takeaway and my best my dislike. So y'all can run through y'all. We can start with Chris again and then go to shoot Lonnie.
Cool. I mean, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the movie. I mean, most of us have seen it. It's like a classic. Not really much else to say about it. Are we doing like the thing I like the most and the thing I disliked, or?
Yeah, I know you say you didn't really have a dislike, so I mean, you could just, if you don't really have nothing else, we can just let somebody else kind of give theirs. I mean, you don't have to force it.
Yeah. Y'all can take it from here.
So, Lonnie, you got something?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite parts of the movie is I'd have to say Charlie Sheen. I'm a big Charlie Sheen fan. I'm pretty sure that's his first movie.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, he stayed up for like 3 days before he filmed that scene to like look like a drug addict burnout, which I love. I love Charlie Sheen. I'm like a big fan of his, always have been. Cameron, the portrayal of Cameron for sure. His like character arc is awesome. Least favorite thing, it's probably like White Privilege, the movie. It's like just a bunch of like white kids running around committing crimes and like not getting caught and like doing whatever. And it's a cool movie, but it's not like the most interesting story of all time.
Right.
But I love the movie. It's definitely has a special place in my heart.
Gotcha. And what about you, DA?
One of my favorite things about the movie has to be the adventure. I mean, him taking his friend out to try to basically cheer him up. I felt like that was just a fun adventure to watch. It kept me entertained. I guess the least favorite thing another fun thing I really enjoyed was the principal. The principal.
Yes.
He was a great character.
Ending with the principal. I love that part.
My favorite part with the principal is when he's like running and then he has to stop in between each like class window.
One of my least favorite parts about the movie is that they destroyed that Ferrari. I mean, it was very symbolic, but that's a beautiful car. You can't.
Oh, it wasn't a real car. It was a kit car. It wasn't a real Ferrari.
I totally get it. I mean, it's obviously, but still, I mean, in the movie,
hard to watch though.
Yeah, it is.
Because the whole time you're seeing them, you're seeing him kick it. And you're like, it's about to fall. As soon as I saw him start kicking, I was like, I have to leave because this precious car, is going to be destroyed. And what do you know? It fucking went out the window.
My whole thing was this too. How was the car supposed to be like not on or something? Because like why was the car running inside of a closed-in garage?
Because they were trying to run the miles backwards.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying, I'm talking about the exhaust coming out of that motherfucker. Inside
the door was open. The garage door was open.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't look like it was open to me. It looked like they was like they was like inside of an enclosed thing. I'm just like, yo, like motherfuckers should be passed the fuck out by now.
Yeah, no, they cut that part out of the movie. They all decided to kill themselves. Like,
it was a deleted scene. Gotcha.
Right. It doesn't make sense because they were all gonna die. And
just to piggyback off my point, and we'll move on. Even when he first signed his girl out of school, and he was her father, and then they kissed right in front of the principal. Like if I'm that principal, I don't give a fuck what just happened on that phone call. I'm going down here to inquire about this shit. Like, There's no way somebody's father in a trench coat and glasses is tongue kissing this girl who I just got out of my school. Come on, man.
It was the 80s. It was different back then.
They went in. They was like,
I mean, they got away with it. He said, "Oh, so that's how." I felt like he said, "Oh, that's how rich people do it." But
no. He said, "Oh, so that's how it is in their family."
Yeah.
That's really all he said.
He thought they was on some incest shit, but whatever. All right, so yeah, that's Farris Bueler. It's a fun movie, entertaining. Definitely some escape flaws in it. So our final film that we had was The Big Short. It was a film I had definitely seen before, but I did watch again because it was so complex. And I think this one steers up for a good conversation. So let's start with our 2 minutes. We can start with you this first DA. Just giving your overview of what you thought about The Big Short.
All right, just some overview. Phenomenal cast. I mean, they all acted the shit out of this movie, and then the story was very heartbreaking. That they not even that what they were doing is really just what was happening, and the truth that we were finding out about 2008. I mean, because I was a kid, so I didn't really pay attention to stocks at the moment, at the time. So,
you were a kid in 2000. How old are you right now?
I mean, I'm 24.
Oh,
I'm turned 25. So
gotcha. I don't know why I always thought you was old. Okay.
You thought I was 30? God.
You act old. You married and shit. I forgot.
Yeah, man.
I forgot you was young.
Yeah, some of us marry young, Rudy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Don't get me wrong.
But the movie overall, I really love the directing and the style of how the camera was working and whatnot, and the cutting and how they intercutted some of the lines overlapping each other. Basically, I thought that was very nice. That was a very nice style and touch to add to the movie.
Gotcha. Dope. Mr. C. Evans, did you see this film, sir?
Oh yeah, I seen this one.
Okay. Well, go ahead and go in, brother.
I thought this film was an amazing film. I thought this was really, really good on a lot of levels. The number one thing that stood out to me overall was the acting. Like, everybody was totally 100% believable. Like, that whole Christian Bale acting like he's like this awkward, super mathematician, genius guy, but he's like socially awkward. Like, I really believe that role. Like, that guy really exists. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Right.
I thought he acted the hell out of that role. That role was beautiful. The other role with I forget the 40-year-old virgin guy's name. What's his name?
Steve Carell.
Oh man, he killed it, bro. With the anger management, it's like every scene that he's in, you can just kind of see like his tempers flaring up. Like he's not gonna go. Like, that's beautiful right there. It's like that's really a person who's suffering from some real anger management issues. You know what I mean? He can't even hold his tongue when he's supposed to. He sees some injustice shit going on. He can't even hold it in. It's like, I like people like that, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. Then the other guy,
Ryan Gosling.
what's the other guy? Yeah, that's his name, Ryan Gosling. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. He was very funny ass narrator. He told a lot of good jokes. He told the story well. And I feel like he had the funniest line in the movie. The funniest line in the movie to me was when they were sitting at the table and the dude was asking him, he was like, yo, how do you know your math is right? Are you sure your math is right?
It's like,
And he was like, look at my math.
Yeah.
He's like, look at his face. I was like, yo,
he doesn't even speak English.
And then dude turned to the camera and like, actually, I do speak English. I was like,
and I won second in that national math.
Like, to me, that was probably the most prejudiced shit I've ever seen. But it was so funny.
Good, dude.
So funny. It was like appropriate, like for the, just for everything, bro. It was appropriate. It was funny as hell. And another thing that I liked about the movie, aside from all the acting that everybody did, the outstanding acting, but these awkward ass cutscenes with like Margot Robbie in a bathtub, just like narrating what's about to happen. Like, what does that have to do with anything? But it's so dope. He did it though. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful, man. I love the way he shot that right there. I don't know why, but it works because it's different. I really give extra points for stuff that's different.
For sure.
But yeah, man, this movie was amazing. That's enough for me. Like, yeah.
For sure. Dope, man. All right. What you got, Lonnie?
For me, I would say the dopest parts of the movie, obviously, Ryan Gosling like steals the movie for me. Ryan Gosling he's probably my favorite actor right now. I love Christian Bale as well, but Ryan Gosling, like every movie he's ever done is good. He does not do bad movies.
Kind of true. Very true.
He has like one movie that I can think of, like Only God Forgives. That's just like not a great movie, but literally everything he's ever been in is fire. And he can like become different roles, like The Nice Guys and
right.
The Place Beyond the Pines and Drive. He has so much range, and The Notebook, you know what I'm saying? Just like different movies. I love the fact that it's directed by Adam McKay, who before this movie did like Anchorman. And he just did like, he was a goofy comedy Will Ferrell guy, and now he's making movies that, another thing that I really love about this movie is they take these things that are super convoluted about the economy and the mortgage industry, and are made complicated on purpose so that the normal people won't know what's going on, so they don't get frustrated and fucking overthrow the government. And he takes these things that are super convoluted and it's like, no, it's like this. Like that scene where they're like betting on the betting. Like it's like in a casino and the people are like, no, I'm going to bet that he wins. And I'm going to bet that he wins that bet. And it just becomes this whole economy that's based on speculation, which is why our economy is taking a shit. And I was like, fuck, man, it explained that thing so well. And then, yeah, man, I mean, the cast, fucking Steve Carell and Christian Bale and Ryan Gosling, just Brad Pitt is in the movie also. All these people. There's a couple of lines that really stand out for me, like Brad Pitt talking about, he says, the NSA and the CIA, they have the ability to monitor every email and phone call in the world. Do you think they're not using it? Do you think they're not using that technology?
Right.
And the other
Brad
scene,
Pitt
man, two more scenes that I want to talk about. Number one, the first one is when they all like break into Goldman Sachs. I don't know if you guys remember that. They sneak up to Goldman Sachs and they look around, or maybe it's the Lehman Brothers or somebody, some big, huge investment house. And they're looking around and they're like, man, I at least thought everybody would be an adult. Yeah. And you're like, these are the people that are running the economy?
Right.
Like frat boys with fucking Red Bull,
Right.
And then the last thing I'll say, man, is, I don't know about, you guys, but personally, the financial crisis in 2008, like changed my life. My family, we lost 2 houses and they actually come to Miami in the movie, which Miami was one of the hardest hit places in the country by the 2008 financial crisis. And that scene where they go to the guy's house and they're like, do you know that you haven't paid your mortgage? And the guy's like, what do you mean I haven't paid my mortgage? I'm just paying rent and I pay my rent. Am I going to lose my house?
Right.
Dude, that shit like broke my heart. And that house looked like my house.
Oh, wow.
The
Fuck, bro.
Kid came.
Right.
Oh my God.
Wow. Dope. All right, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, this was a really excellent film to me. I love the style of it. It was so different, man. Just a lot of the decisions that were made, man. It was almost like a mock documentary style at certain points, man. You know, with like a narrator. It was showing different. I liked how like they tried to show like the passage of time through different things, like the little cutaways to like ludicrous and just like weird. The soundtrack was different. It's very different overall, man. Just a lot of like very unique decisions were made in this film, and I always like to see shit like that because sometimes you get, even when a film has great performances and a great script and story, sometimes you get bored with just like close up, medium shot,
Right.
now exterior shot. This film was just all over the fucking place, and I really love that. Once again, the performances, like to me, Steve Carell had the best performance in the whole movie.
Sure.
Especially that scene when he's finally breaking down and talking to his wife about like what happened. Like his face was so smashed. Like I almost cried. Like that was a very good scene. Like
And
he
you
did
talking
that
about
so
me.
so well. What'd you say?
I say, you talking about me.
Right.
Word. And like yeah, man, it's definitely not only a well-crafted film, but just like wildly entertaining. There's so many parts of that movie that made me fucking laugh out loud. Like just two specific moments where to me the underrated characters of the film were the two young stockbrokers that were running that garage fund. And fucking first of all, I love the scene when they go to the fucking bank, and it kind of just shows you that just like levels to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like man, we made $30 million in like a year. Like we're the shit. And he's like, so it's like, yeah, you're a little bit under the cap for an ISDA. They're like, how many? He's like, roughly 2,470,000,000. So a lot. He was like, but keep up with those returns and give us a call way down the line. Okay. He didn't even let him up to the office. That was hilarious. And then fucking, I love when they made the bets on the A's, because they realized like the whole shit is like faulty. Like if we bet on the A's, that's 200 to 1 odds, and they did like that crazy shit, made the money. And then they're fucking doing the dance, and, and they're going for the high. And Brad Pitt's like, dude, knock it off. And he gives that great scene of like, you know what that means? Like people lose jobs, people lose homes. He's like, every time unemployment goes up 1%, 40,000 people die. And they're like, oh shit. They felt like total douchebags. That was hilarious when they were going for the high five. And then like also very, very like makes you think and super informative. And that scene right there kind of captures what the movie did for me. Like, it could be wildly entertaining, but also make you think and be like, damn, that is fucked up.
Right.
But yeah, that's about all I had to say.
Gotcha. So for me, I'm a piggyback off of the style, but I'm gonna save that for last because I want us to actually talk about that. But for me, I mean, like I said, I definitely seen it before. I rewatched it again, but I seen it before it was suggested for this week, and for me, it was definitely a phenomenal movie. I loved it the first time, and I seen it the first time even before I even had, I guess, the filmmaker mindset in the sense of having the curtains pulled back, looking at different things or whatever. And I know that was a thing for me because speaking of something that you said, Cory, about like the Margot Robbie scene or whatever like that, like I could imagine my first time seeing that scene, my dick just probably got hard and I just left it at that. You know what I'm saying? But when I seen it this time, like I was noticing, like I was low-key frustrated because I'm like, she's only turning back and forth between two cameras and they can't even get the continuity right. Like, She'll pick up the glass in one time and then they'll come back to this camera and now she's just not picking up. I'm just like, it's literally just two fucking cameras to turn back and forth to. Like, that's not that hard. Grab the glass. Okay, you didn't grab it last time. Okay, wait this time and then grab it. Like, I didn't get that. Like, that was frustrating to me. But, once again, that was only because of the way I look at things now. But when I first seen it, I was very interested in it because, I mean, it was very informative. Like you said, I wasn't a kid in 2008. I was in college, but I definitely was not as, aware of what was going on when it was happening or whatever like that. So just to even kind of get the backstory and to even, I mean, they pulled the curtains, back for us to even look into that world to see like, like somebody did the math and took the risk and somebody didn't believe in, whatever. And they use a lot of terminology, which I know is true because I've learned some of those terms like hedge fund and the different acronyms. When I learned those things in film school, well, DA, we in the same class. I learned some of those things when I heard
law.
Right, in our law class, when I heard some of those terminologies, I'm just like, damn, like this shit is real. Like this is, like they like whoever wrote this isn't just spitting a bunch of shit, just hoping nobody cares to understand. Like this is, this is really what's going on. And then so to even go to what you were talking about, Chris, the style of it. I don't know if it's called mockumentary. I don't know, but it was definitely a scripted documentary style. Like they almost shot it even kind of the same way. It's almost as active as the show The Office, like that. Like the camera's constantly moving. Like never let you forget like you're watching a film. Like sometimes in movies you can be just locked in because you're just paying attention to characters, whatever like that. But like the camera movement, whoever the cinematographer / camera operator was, like they were very strategic in showing things a certain way to make sure that you as a viewer understood how chaotic the situation was or how calm it was or how, all over the place it was, whatever the case may be. So I thought that was very fascinating. And even especially with one particular scene when I forgot what they were arguing about, but they were still trying to figure out like, should they, Jesus Christ.
You all right?
They were still trying to figure out if they should do something like go along with it, whatever the case may be. But it was the different groups, and the film kept cutting back and forth between like, the one person saying something, but then they would answer it in the other person's group, and it's just showing the different conversation, whatever. Like all of that type of stuff, the editor, all that type of stuff is real dope. So I thought that was fascinating. But going back to the style of it specifically, let's ride that train for a second. What did y'all think? And Cory, we'll even start with you. What did you think about in reference to the actual style of filmmaking and the camera work and just whatever else you may have saw, lighting, whatever that you may have saw,
I like I think one thing that was really underrated, or underrated, I guess. One thing I really loved about it was the intro of each character was like right on the nose. Like the introduction, as soon as the first time they came on the scene, like within the first 30 seconds of like that character being in the scene, like everything about that character. Their emotions, how they are, how they think, So I think those are like perfect introductions. Like when the dude is Christian Bale, when he's sitting down talking to the other dude and he's saying all of these conspiracy theories, and then the dude is like, so do I have the job? It's like, then we see that he's in the boss position and that's how he thinks, and he's sitting there with no shoes on. I was like, all right, bet. So we know exactly who this guy is, like how he thinks, how he feels, like from just as soon as he comes on the scene. The same thing with Steve Carell. As soon as he charges in and the dude is opening management and he just charges in and just starts talking, it's like, okay, we know exactly who this guy is. You know what I mean? He's very high energy. He's probably like a little bit selfish, doesn't really care about others' feelings and shit. So that part right there I thought was done really, really well. Same thing with the other two, the two entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs in the lobby trying to get a seat at the big boys table. I think that it was done really well. Like it only takes a few seconds or a few minutes for them to like introduce a character, and we know exactly who that character is, like in totality.
Right.
So I thought that was done really well.
Dope.
Yeah, just again about the shots and those cuts and those like breaks in the movie. The narrator, I thought that was really good. Like Lonnie was talking about with the scene where they're at the blackjack table,
right?
And it's just like the actual story stops altogether. Like the story is over, and then the narrator picks up and is now gonna break down and explain the story that you've heard just thus far, just to make it even more compelling. Even if you already understood it, like them breaking it down in that example makes the story even more emotional, even more compelling. Like, so just that again, man, it was just so weirdly done though, because it's like you don't expect it to happen. Like again, that Margot Robbie, it's like where does that even come from? That literally could have been anything. Like, why you pick her and in the bathtub and getting champagne with
Right.
these awkward cameras? Like, what? Like I don't know. But I thought that was funny.
And it's not even like she was. And it's not even like she was playing the character. Like, they had her being herself. They're like, yo, here's Margot Robbie, get ready to explain whatever. And it's just like, all right, boom. It's just like
Right.
Like if some way of like her being naked and in the bathtub can help us digest information better. Like we can't take.
It's like the filmmaker was like, yo, this movie's not spicy enough, man. We got to get a naked bitch in here somewhere. Like, this is
right. One naked girl there, man.
Right.
Anyway.
No doubt.
But yeah, I thought it was great.
For sure. What'd you say, DA? What you think about the visuals and the camera work and all that type of stuff?
So I would say that the editing played a big part in this movie. I mean, and not knocking the director's choices, because the director made some bold choices, and I think that was one of the best things about this film.
Mm-hmm.
But the editing played so much because of the intercutting. You guys sound like you have a problem with the continuity errors that come into when Margot Robbie is explaining the whole thing. But to me, that was like they established that style all the way at the beginning, so it was okay. So it was a part of the film. So that intercutting.
You talking about like the missing the continuity part?
Yeah. And they even did it in when what's his name? Steve Carell was confessing about his brother. The wife was talking, and then they overlapped her talking with a piece of his dialogue, and then it was going. They basically summed up that whole conversation that they had within like 2 minutes, which probably was like a 5-minute or maybe 20-minute. But they summed it up in 3 minutes just by overlaying everything. And I think by doing that, it made the story more interesting, and it kept our attention, because we not only had to listen, but we were still watching what the movie was showing us, because obviously a movie is both visual and audio. So that's one of the things I really like about
Before you keep going,
I'm actually done.
Okay. But so what I wanted to say was the part that you're talking about when he was reminiscing about his brother, I guess, jumping off the building, whatever, like that overlapping just dealt with hearing their conversation and them just using like J and L cuts, in the sense of we see a different visual in comparison to not being in the present moment where the conversation is happening. We're just showing a piece of the past while the conversation is still happening and making it quicker. That ain't what happened in the bathtub. What happened in the bathtub was she was literally not breaking stride in conversation, but like at moments when she would just say, grab the champagne off the little, off the side.
Yeah, no, I know what part you're talking about.
She would literally grab it and then turn this way to now face a new camera. But then by the time she gets to this camera, she's just now grabbing the champagne. That ain't got nothing to do with overlapping. Somebody fucked up in that scene is what happened.
No, I'm telling you, that was a part of they established that style at the beginning.
Listen to me. They fucked up in that scene.
I can't hear you, Cory.
No.
Your audio's breaking up.
No.
I was just saying, I don't know if that's like fucking up so much it was like artistic creation, because they did it more than once. Like they switched to a camera.
It was a style. They established.
And they switched to another camera where she holding the cup, and then they switch back and she like this again. It's
Right.
like, holding the cup, or is she stretched out?
But that's what I'm saying. That's because somebody fucked up in that scene, and then they end up hiring another editor, and they was like, hey, can you fuck up in like 3 more scenes to match this shit that's already stuck? And they just was stuck with the shit, man. I'm telling you, somebody fucked up in Margot Robbie. That's not an editing style, because it wasn't like a jump here, there, whatever. It was just like grab it up twice.
I just want to say, guys, I really love how much time we've spent on the Margot Robbie bathtub scene. Like, that's lit.
Best part of the movie.
It was the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Like, the best series of shots in the film.
The best series of shots, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Yeah, I linked that out. So, Lonnie, you go ahead with your as far as like the camera work and stuff.
Dude, I mean, I thought the movie, like the word that comes to mind for me for this movie is cool. You know, it's a cool movie. It could easily be like this subject matter done by another director could be boring as fuck. Like it could just be like
Word.
Kevin Spacey in a boardroom, like doing this a lot. And you know, and I would not give two shits to watch this movie, but I think the way that it was filmed, the way it was written, it made. I mean, look at us, bro. We're five guys in our late 20s talking about the fucking financial crisis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey there.
That movie.
I'm 30.
Right. Well, I'm 30 also, but you know what I'm saying? Like. Five young dudes like talking about the financial crisis when we were 18 and Daryl was 2. So, like, I think that movie, it was done in that way. It kind of like, it's talking about something so serious that had implications for hundreds of millions of people around the world in this like cool ass way that gets everybody who watches it engaged. Like I watched this movie probably 5 years ago when it came out and it's still like in my head. Like that's how, good of a movie it was. And yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, I love that movie. I thought it was excellent. I don't know if you guys have seen Vice yet, but it's a similar, it's Adam McKay talking about Dick Cheney, who is a huge piece of shit, but also shot in a very cool way that makes it a fun movie to watch. It's on Hulu. I would definitely check it out.
I was actually going to suggest that movie as one of my
Nice.
Gotcha. All right, and Chris, I know you kind of mentioned earlier, but you just want to double back on it in reference to like the camera style.
Yeah, the style of the film, I did like the whole kind of The Office type of handheld camera style. It made you feel more like you were just kind of a fly on the wall or just someone there listening to these conversations, which were written so realistically that, that helped to carry the story and helped make it more funny. Like, I just love that entire scene when fucking Ryan Gosling is pitching to them the fucking shit. One thing, that's like the best scene in the movie, bro. Like, I love how when he's sitting there, there's a lot of subtle shit going on too. Like, he's looking at the glass, he's like, smell that. That's enough money. And he said, and then he gets in the meeting, he's like, you smell that? And he turns to the guy, he's like, opportunity. Yeah. Money.
Right.
Dude, his partner was like fucking up the entire time.
Always fucking up.
He fucking finally finishes his part. Like, fucking A, man. He's like, shut the fuck up. Shit was great. But also to just speak on that too, one thing I loved about the movie was how because it was set up in the style of like a narrator and sort of like real events that happened, it was set up in a way where exposition was like made sense and worked. Because one of my big problems with a lot of films is exposition is really hard to do in a film when you're trying to let people know what's going on or the backstory. And a lot of times you have characters talking about things or saying things that they normally wouldn't say or wouldn't talk about. It makes it unrealistic, right? Well, this movie, not only do they have the exposition narrator, but they also have scenes like the Ryan Gosling pitch where it makes sense that he's explaining to them why how the economy works and how the mortgages work and how it's corrupted, because he's trying to get them to buy in on this thing, on these short sales. Right. So that was a way for them to give you the exposition and explain it to you, and it also makes sense in the context of the characters that this conversation is happening. And I love the intellectual battle that's going on between these guys at this hedge fund and this dude, because it's the same stubbornness that everybody experienced at that time of like, how could Warren Buffett be wrong? How could all these people be wrong? And these people are like, yes, but they are wrong. And then when you just look and you just actually look, you see that they're right. So that doesn't really speak on the camera style, but I just, basically I just loved the exposition style of the movie.
For sure.
I have a question for you guys before you go on, Rudy. Real quick, who did a better job of breaking the fourth wall? Farris or The Big Short?
Oh, Farris Bueller talking to the camera or Ryan Gosling talking to the camera? Damn. Yeah.
It wasn't just Ryan Gosling. I mean, they talked to it throughout. A lot of people talk to the camera in The Big Short. So, I mean, I would say The Big Short probably because it was
definitely The Big Short.
It was
the
more,
thing is, though, is that Ferris Bueller kind of invented that. Like, movies didn't really do that back then. You know, Ferris Bueller really set the tone for like talking to the audience. That was not done before.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean that may be true, but somebody definitely surpassed the teacher. I would say that because even if they're like in Ferris Bueller, if it never happened, if they never broke the fourth wall, it wouldn't have changed the movie for me. But for like in The Big Short, like when they were doing it, like they were like they almost kind of made it entertainingly necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like even the small stuff, like yo, we didn't actually find this book in the bank. We actually were doing separate things, but we're letting you know this because we both found this, but we don't have time to show that I was over here reading this. He was on the phone call and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, so for me, it just made more sense in The Big Short to me in comparison to Ferris Bueller.
I was gonna say to piggyback on what he said. Yeah, I love that. Like, I love the part when Ryan Gosling is like, "Yeah, I was never here. I would never hang out with these people. Like, we're just like they're just showing you like as a filmmaker, like we just made this scene just to show you that I somehow found out about this and got wind of it." And I love that. Like that's real fourth wall breaking because not only is the character talking to the audience about what they're feeling and stuff, but they're actually telling the audience what's really going on. And in some cases, like this entire scene is fake. And I love that. That was dope.
Yeah, I was gonna say that about when the two young investors were in the bank and found the little pamphlet or booklet.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah. I thought that was a great use of breaking the fourth wall, saying, "Oh, you know, this never really happened."
Right.
I feel like also that example right there of breaking the fourth wall is like later on intensified even when they break the when Steve Carell breaks the fourth wall, when he stands up in the crowd and just starts yelling. And then Ryan Gosling's like, yeah, he actually did that. He actually said that.
right.
Yeah. That's
like
called
intensified. Like maybe the other parts of the story wasn't as fictional.
Right.
True as we. But this part, he actually really did that. And to me, that's even further into the story. Like, this guy really exists right here. This is a real person.
And this is not Steve Carell just like intensifying the acting. You know, this was real. Like this was a real life.
Yeah, there was a guy walking around doing that. Yeah, I like that.
That's hilarious. Hey, so one last question, not necessarily deal with filmmaking, but just my own personal question, just from a moral standpoint. So what do y'all feel in reference to, I know Lonnie, I know it kind of hit you kind of different, but what do y'all feel like in reference to if you are on the other side, like if you're not the person who got the fucked up mortgage, but you are the person who like one of these guys who did the numbers and was like, yo, if we capitalize on this, our whole lives would change. Because think about it, some of them were in situations where they were probably already low-key straight and they're taking a big risk. But then like the younger guys, like I don't know what their growing up situation was, but they weren't necessarily rich or whatever. So in a lot of their minds, some people may have just been trying to get richer, but some people were just trying to get set in general. So you could even take their situation or you could take your own situation. Let's say your current situation, but you had the ability to either find out or do the math or whatever. Do you feel like it's okay to be on that side and to come up off of some bullshit that somebody else did, even though other people are suffering? Or is it just totally wrong altogether because of somebody has to suffer in order for you to be able to come up?
I mean, I don't necessarily think the guys that made money in the movie The Big Short were the ones that were like ruining people's lives. They were just speculators that noticed a trend in the economy and took advantage. I don't like fault them for doing that. They were just ahead of the game, and that's how America works, right? Is you have to like, you know, you jump on something while it's hot. You know, it's like, you know, people make money off of everything, dude. Is it right? Is it wrong? I mean,
you don't want to end up,
man.
You don't want to end up like that black chick with sitting there explaining how your liquidity is like -$7 billion because you didn't capitalize on the trip.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But you know, at the same time, man, like, do you want to make money off of like guns and fucking bombs and shit? You know, there is a line somewhere, you know?
Right. Well, I wanted to, speaking on that, like the whole morality issue of the thing, How did you guys feel now? Like back then, I don't know if you guys remember the bailouts for the bank, right? People were pissed about it then. But I don't know about you guys, but actually seeing the full scope of how much the bank fucked up and how everybody just got so fat and rich and then we're like literally bailed out for it when it's like it's supposed to be a dog-eat-dog world, right? It's supposed to be a bull market. Like if you get eaten, you get eaten. Oh well. And yet they just had this immunity of just, yeah, we're gonna just bail them out. Fine. Like, how do you guys feel about the bailouts now after seeing the film?
Bullshit.
Total bullshit, right?
I would
Bullshit.
say
It's like if you're a member of the club, you're fine. But if not, like that's socialism, right? Like that's what everybody says we can't be doing because it's like communist and social. It's all bullshit.
Think about it as a casino, right? If you bust out of the casino, like I
You're
bust,
done.
and then yeah, you're done. You have no more chips. You fucking then the American people, the hardworking people, they have to now give you 7 billion chips back.
Right.
No, man, that's fucked up. They weren't even playing the game.
right,
You were playing the game.
right.
Right.
That's fucked up. That means that they were literally, if you look at it that way, they were gambling with our money. And I feel like a lot of them know that. They absolutely know that. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it just shows you how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You know, that whole
Word.
It kind of goes back to it's kind of weird that we chose all these movies because it goes back to the Parasite, that where they were talking about greed and respect. You had that class that was basically at the sewer level of society, and
Word.
at the class that was living on a hill with a fucking 40 acres and mule.
Right.
You know, it's like if you steal $40, you'll go to prison. But if you steal 40 billion, you go to the White House.
That is
Sure.
true.
Yep.
For sure. No, I mean that's right. This is life in general. I mean, you know, it's the have and have nots. Like as long as you have, you don't have to worry about like if you're getting fair health care or you getting, you know, or who you barely have to almost worry about who's in, you know, the president outside of how much taxes you may pay. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, as long as you put yourself, you know, have a seat at the table or whatever, then you know you kind of give yourself that advantage. But that's neither here nor there. So that's cool. So let's do this. Let's pick our movies for next week. Even though it's 5 of us, we're only gonna choose 3. So I will forfeit mine. Cory, if you have one in mind, you can suggest for it, even though you won't be here. You can just suggest for us to watch. And then Lonnie, we'll let you choose one since this is your first time on. You haven't chosen before. And then after those who choose, you find.
See, that's the thing. That's what I don't understand, Rudy, about the thing is I feel like if the guest chooses a movie, they should be able to come on and talk about the film. That's why I wanted us to like have the guests like pre-choose, so that like, you know what I'm saying. And then when we come on, they can talk about like the film.
Yeah, I think I need
well,
some time.
well, for one, Chris, the moment that you tell me what you feel is after we're done recording the podcast. Okay.
Oh shit.
We're still shooting right now. Okay.
My bad.
Check your feelings at the record button. All right. All right. So, anyways, no, but seriously though, so our guest is going to choose. They don't have to be here to know. He's our guest. I want to let him choose our movie, you know, for us. If that's okay with you.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. I got one. I love animated movies. Like I'm big on like anything 2D, drawing, animation, like all of that stuff. But have y'all seen a movie called Motherfuckers?
No.
It's on Netflix right now.
It is? All right, perfect. So the name of the movie is called Motherfuckers, but it's abbreviated. So I think it's like MK.
MFKZ.
Yeah, MFKZ is the title of the film.
No, MFKZ, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
MUTAFUKAZ.
No,
yeah,
just lit.
No, I'm saying that's how you spell the full thing out. It's
okay, yeah.
MUTAFUKAZ. I'm looking at it right now.
Word.
Yeah.
All right.
It's on Netflix.
Yo, Cory, that's crazy. That's good that you actually recommended that because I legit like still haven't watched that movie. My bad. Like
perfect. This is perfect timing. Like in my opinion, it was like if you look at the camera angles and the shots in it, it's beautiful camera angles, beautiful animation, And to me, that's like one of the most realist dialogues I've ever heard in an animation. Like just as far as two characters talking back and forth, it just sounds like real life. You know what I mean? And that was like that cartoon movie really shined out for me. So, check it out, man. Let me know.
No, we got you. That's on the list. So we got motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Lonnie Cox, what you got, brother?
I mean, I'm going to suggest one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know if it's like a great movie for this podcast, but fuck it. I'm going to suggest The Other Guys.
One
of my.
Love that movie.
That's on Netflix. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now.
That's a funny movie.
All right. And DA and Chris, I guess y'all do rock, paper, scissors or some shit. I don't know who.
Over Zoom.
It'd be a delay. Like he'd be cheating, wait to see what he does first.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Chris, choose a number 1 to 10.
No, I was just gonna say Chris can take it.
Fun.
Word.
We're trying to play games, man. You just shut down.
Yeah,
shit.
like.
All right. Go ahead. I'm game, I guess.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
All right, go ahead.
5.
Okay, well, that was actually the number, so you go ahead, Chris.
I decided to play and I don't even get to play.
It wouldn't matter what you chose. He hit it right on the head. All right, go ahead.
All right, cool. Damn, see, I had the movie in mind. I was gonna definitely say Uncut Gems, but I don't think that's available to stream unless you guys, Right. So, I mean, I watched it without paying, but yeah, we should stick to the streaming platforms. I'm going to say a movie that I told Cory to watch that he was not impressed with, but I love. I'm going to say Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey. It's on Hulu right now.
Okay.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, Beach
Rudy,
Bum.
didn't you watch that movie, Rudy?
I have to finish it. I just never.
Wow.
I just never.
Everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Guys, my phone is about to die, so I think I got to slide.
Well, no, we're wrapping up now. We close it out. All right, so we got motherfuckers, we got The Other Guys, and we got Beach Bum. Those are our 3 films for the week. Cory, we want to say thank you right here on camera, man, for joining us, man. You were an awesome guest. You guys can follow him at SEE_Evans, C Evans, man. Dope artwork. Don't try to come at him sideways because he's going to definitely charge you what he's worth. He's going to run up the bag on your pussy. So y'all make sure y'all respect it, man. Like I said, thank you for coming through, man. Anytime you want to come back, let us know. You're more than welcome.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate everything, man. I love being a part of the whole vibe. I love what y'all got going on here. I'm definitely down to come back another time, man. Talk about some word.
For sure.
Hey, Cory, before you go, man, I wanted to say, man, when you see your mother, man, tell her, yo, good look. I got the soulgasm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Valerie,
good luck.
And
I appreciate that.
And I got the Confessions of the Christian Witch Dump. Yeah.
Hey.
Cory's mother, she writes books. She's a life coach. Valerie Love, very dope individual, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want you to definitely tell her thanks, man, when you see her, man. These books are already dope. Like I've already dug into them a little bit.
Definitely.
Soulgasm's dope, nigga. It's like literally you just pick it up and read it anytime.
Yeah. I've been scared for a second because you were a comedian and you was like, "Hey, Cory, tell your mother." I was like, "What is this dude?"
Word to your mother. Hey, well, that's been another episode of Dumbass Film Students. I'm Rudy Wilson. We got D.A. Henry. We got Chris Golden. We got Lonnie Cox. We got Cory Evans. Hey, man, this has been fun. We'll see y'all next week. We out, bitches.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Word.